Right, so today's look is going to be a purple smoky eye. So I'm going to really emphasize it on the lids and get it really nice and smoky. And then I'm going to go in there with this like Amethyst palette by Huda Beauty. Your brows look is up to you. Everybody has a preference. I like them to look a little bit lighter. So stay tuned. I'm going to keep going. Okay, so all I've done so far is just prep my eyes with a paint pot by MAC. It's drying out by now, but like you get the idea. This is Soft Ochre by MAC. So I really like it as a base because I find that not only does it neutralize the eyelid, but it also really helps for the pigments to stand out. So as you see, I'm talking in this video, so it might be longer than the other one. But you guys let me know what you prefer, talking versus no talking, and maybe just captions at the bottom. You let me know what's best. I'm just trying to explore my options here. So anyways, let's just keep going. Whoops. To start off my smoky eye, I'm going to just line very messily my eyelids with black. Okay, so let's do that. Just blend out that little piece there. I really just want to tuck this into the base of my lash line because that's, if I take it too high, my smoky eye is going to look too black. And obviously I just want it to look like a deep purple. So the black is going to help with that. Okay, so just using a nice clean brush, we're just going to blend that out. Blend out the edges of that. And with this, you want to use a pencil that is not waterproof because I feel like once you get it on, it's going to be really hard to blend. So see, just doing it on the lash line, I mean, if you're to do it any higher, look how much it blends up already. Okay, and then you kind of just want to diffuse that line there to have it just fade into a really light smoky gray. Okay, so I've diffused that a bit and just really faded out as much as possible. Going in with a nice dark purple, I'm going to layer that right on top. So I'm going to go with that one and just put that right on top of the foundation on my skin. And the reason being is because I am doing a smoky eye. So in case I get any fallout, and chances are I will, with such an intense and deep smoky eye, it's best if you just do your eye work first and then do your foundation second. All right, so I have the purple on there. Don't worry again about this area here. We're going to go in with a transitional shade. So just make sure you really pack on that purple because now we're going to blend that out. And we have to make sure that placement is key here. So placement is very important. Your darkest color should be right on your lids. Now, if you have deep set eyes, I wouldn't recommend this. Maybe you can do it like on the outer corners as opposed to just in here because it's going to create way more depth and you're going to look like a skull. So your transitional shade should be something that's close to this, right? So it doesn't look like just such a huge contrast. I'm going to go in with Nocturnal by MAC and just put that on a little blendy brush like that. And tucking it right into my socket, I'm going to just start blending away. Right, what you want to create is a gradient effect. And make sure you don't go too high. So the reason I'm tucking it right into my socket is that when my eye is completely open, it doesn't look too high, okay? And even that, no, that's not bad. Okay, so tuck it into your socket and blend in a windshield motion. Okay, so you're kind of fusing that purple and the Nocturnal together. Okay, getting another brush just like that one. I'm going to go into that color right there. Now it has a little bit of pink to it, but and if you notice, I'm just staying with all the cool shades. As soon as I add a little bit of warmth to this, I feel like it's just kind of contrasts a little bit too much. I'm trying just to keep everything in the cool range. So very lightly, I'm going to transition that color. And this should just essentially be your last shade. Don't worry about all of this. We're going to clean it up. But we just don't want this smokiness to be so drastic from our brow bone, right? We need a little bit of color on there, just a hint of it, right at the start of our brow bone, so it doesn't look so like white. Obviously, okay, and I'm gonna go in with that right there. This is called A Beauty Campaign by Makeup by Mario and KKW. And I'm gonna add that right here as a brow highlight. Don't worry, I always say, like when I'm doing a smoky eye, just chill. Once you add the rest of your face products, everything kind of just comes into place. Right now, I just look like Uncle Fester from Addams Family. So because we're trying to create the most depth right here, I'm gonna tight line my water lines. So I'm gonna take some Bioderma and just clean up under my eyes, just in case there's any fallout. More rough with my brushes, I'd have a lot more fallout. Oh my god, my skin sounds like sandpaper. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and start my face. I'm going to use, and actually a student of mine recommended this primer to me, and so far so good. I like it. It's this Hard Candy Blur Primer. So I'm going to apply that in my T-zone, continue the whole shebang. You guys saw how I do my face. I do my concealer first. So I'm going to go ahead and conceal. I'm going to show you guys how to kind of clean around the edges. So yeah. So for those who asked, in the 24-hour Wear Studio Fix Concealer by MAC, I am NC35. Okay, so I've applied a whole bunch of concealer in here. I'm using a nice clean beauty blender. I love the black ones. There's just something about them. And I tuck that right into my lash line. So tucking in that concealer right under my lash line is going to help the eyeshadow I'm going to put under there after to really pick up. And I kind of just closed off and kind of cut some of that eyeshadow because I felt like it was too protruding at the sides. And just lightly tap it on top of that eyeshadow there just to close it off a bit. Okay, let's do the other eye. Do it on my nose because I find that the nose doesn't hold foundation as much for me. And I hate what my nose looks like the makeup is peeling off. It's gross. Don't like that look, not for me. Okay, before I start doing anything else, I'm going to go back in with that purple and that same flat brush and load it in straight in like that. So I get just the top of the bristles pigmented, and I'm going to tuck that right in here as if we're continuing this roundness from the top to the bottom and just hugging the lower lash line. However low you want to take this is up to you. I don't like to take it too low because I find that either I don't do a good job with that or it just doesn't suit me. Excuse my breathing, guys. I breathe really loud. It's just my thing. All right, I hired my camera just a little bit. So I have that purple under there. And I'm going to blend that out with like that pinky shade. Okay, I'm going to add just a little dot of a light concealer. This is the Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting in Cream Puff. Just a little. Just to make that area pop a little bit more and be highlighted so that once we add light here, this looks darker, right? And I just want this area to really be highlighted so it doesn't look so sunken with my smoky eye. So I obviously went more than just a little dot. So obviously if that happens, you can see that most of it is concentrated there. Just flip over your sponge and try to blend that out as much as possible. I always say I'm going to do a dot, but concealer. Concealer's like my guilty pleasure. I go so crazy with it. Okay, now let's contour. All right, so I'm going to go in with a cream contour this time, which I love. Cream contours, I usually like to underpaint, so I usually do my contour before I do my foundation. That's a whole other lesson. But I'm going to go in with this dark shade because, yeah, I like to look tanned. So this is a Pro Sculpting palette by Makeup Forever, and it's in the shade range 40. Okay, so this is, I guess, one of the darkest. I like to use a nice angle brush like this one. This Makeup Forever 150. So it's just nice and tapered like that. Load up this brush. And without going too crazy on my face, I'm going to put some on my hand first. And tuck that right in there and start sculpting away. I'll be right back. This makes me feel so much better. I'm going to blend that out. So obviously, because I put that really, really light concealer, this contour is just going to pop. So the whole point is to really make this, as soon as I add darkness, this area here is just going to pop, right? Because I put such a light color there. Again, when I'm contouring, I like to place and sweep upward. I don't like to go downwards. Every time you go down, you start to make your face look a little bit too sunken, and you don't want that. Oops. So what's fantastic about the cream is just its blending capabilities. It just blends so nicely and it looks very, I guess, more natural. Obviously, because I'm going with a darker shade, in comparison, it can look a little bit too obvious. So yeah. I'm always blending the perimeter of my face and then the sides of my nose. I like to go behind my ear and into the jaw to really create a little bit more chisel. That's why I look like a supermodel in my pictures. Just kidding. Because I contour a lot. So you guys start off by seeing my face nice and full, and by the time we're done, my face looks pretty chiseled. This is why I take extra time in this step. So I'm not going to keep you guys here waiting. I'm going to continue and come back. Another place you'd like to contour is right here in your temples. So if you're a very narrow face, that's probably not an area you want to contour. But let's say with me where I'm a little bit more round, especially on this side, I like to contour right here. Kind of just brings everything in a little bit. All right, so whatever areas need to be fused in together, go back with that sponge. That sponge always has a bit of foundation left. So just tap, tap, tap all around to fuse everything together. What I like to do after this is just add a bit of powder to kind of set all those creams. And then if I have to retouch it and add a little bit more powdered contour, then I'd go ahead and do that. So let's just see where the powder takes us. So using my NC35 Studio Fix powder, I'm going to go over those areas like on my forehead, under here. On my nose, because remember, I don't like too much foundation on my nose, so just a little sweep of powder is going to help me out there. So I still feel like my contour is not as sharp as I want it. I know, I'm so annoying. I'm going to go in with this powder here. This is S116, the Artist Face Powders. They're beautiful. They're just so pigmented, and you don't have to worry too much about really getting in there. It's just a little tap and your product is on there. So let's just give it a little oomph. And I'll be right back. All right, so I'm gonna go in with my Laura Mercier translucent loose setting powder. And same thing I did yesterday. I'm just going to pop that right under my eyes. And especially where I put that nice light concealer, we're going to set that. Although that concealer doesn't really crease too much, I know I have some lines under there that will probably get some concealer in there and make me look like I'm creasing. Just add a little pigment back in there. Yeah. So you see, once you add all your face products, everything starts to make sense all over again. And then you can start doing your little final touches, tweaking it where you need to. And then you can add your accessories, your lashes. Lashes is what really makes this. Be right back with my lashes. Okay, lashes are on, and I just emphasized a little bit of that purple back onto my eyes. Now I'm going in with my Ambient Light by Hourglass Luminous Light, because I don't like a lot of highlight, only because I have a little bit of texture on my face. So I just put a little bit of this one because it gives me glow, but not that much shimmer. And blush. So a blush palette like this can look super, super scary, but when you have something so bright and so pigmented like this, it's just, you're going to be applying such a toned down version of it that you can't even tell that I'm going to go in that bright pink. So I like to just tap that off over here, smile a bit, and put that on my cheekbones. So yes, it's pretty red right now. Don't worry. I go in with that beauty blender and tone it down just a bit. On the other side. I'm going to take whatever I have left on my hand there. That nice little ball right there, that's where I want my blush. So with that little bit of blush I have, is going to tie that in here. Just a little bit, just add a little hint of that. It's not going to be super obvious, but just add a little bit of pink to tie everything all together. A little bit of here. I put some on my nose already. And I mean, I'm not going to go with a pink lip because I feel like that's just going to look too like matchy-matchy. I'm going to go in with a nude lip. Be right back. Before I keep going, I'm going to go in with this 24-hour brow setter by Benefit. I like to smear a little bit of that like gel and then go in with the comb. Brow gel. It just doesn't let those hairs move after, which is great. Especially if you have a lot of hair in your eyebrows, which I don't, but the little hairs that I have, I like them to stay in place. Let's move on to lips so we can finish this up. Okay, so I'm going to go in with half red, and because I kind of want, I guess, an ombre type of feel to my lips, I'm going to go with a really, really nude lipstick. I'm going to go with a slightly darker lip liner. I'm going to line that and come back. Okay, so I've added the lip liner and kind of just filled it in a little bit all over. I'm going to go in with a nude lipstick, and I'll blend all those things together. So it's a perfect lipstick for this. This is the KKW, and it's one of my favorite colors. It's called He's a Mixer. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, is mix. Yeah, I'm going to leave it just like that. I'm going to go back with my lip liner. Oops. And kind of just shade around the lipstick application. And just with my finger, blend those two things together. That's it. All right, guys. So that's it for your purple smoky eye tutorial. What's cool about this is that you don't have to worry about eyeliner. Okay, so I mean, the eyeliner I put was really messy, as you saw in the beginning. You just have to blend that out, add your purple or add whatever shade. Obviously, if you're not doing a deep tone like this, I wouldn't start with black, okay? I mean, but for the most part, some smoky eyes are pretty much like very dark in the base. So either black or dark brown or the corresponding pencil color to the eyeshadow you're doing. My eye's tearing. that's what you would go for. Okay, so if you're doing like a really extravagant pink, for example, you can like line it with pink first so that you have a good base underneath that pink. If you have any questions, message me. You know where I'm at. Bye-bye.